following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello and good afternoon. I'm State Representative Don LeBrun, and the show is Nashua's Nonprofits. I'm here today with Ms. Sarah Woodard of Better World Communications, and we're going to discuss her organization and exactly what they do. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Your organization, how was it founded? What gave you the inspiration to found it?
Well, I'd been working in the corporate world for far too long, and I was watching these big corporations get bigger and bigger and not really contributing anything to the greater good of the world, and feeling like I wasn't contributing as a consequence. And I kind of did a lot of soul searching, and I'm actually a knitter, so I did a lot of knitting to think about it, and I kind of came upon the idea that what I really needed to be doing was advocating for all of these wonderful causes that are in the world. And how could I best do that? And I can best do that by using what I do best, which is talk to people and communicate and get the message out there. Mm-hmm. And I started kind of looking at maybe I could work for one nonprofit, but that for the most part they need like a part-time person, or they need a person here or a person there, a person there. And I said, well, I could work for all of them if I had my own company. Mm-hmm. And there we began.
So explain that a little more. You actually work for other nonprofits promoting their nonprofit?
Right. So basically, I'm a consultant.
Okay.
Is one way to look at it. So if there's a nonprofit, say like the Humane Society or something, and they have a cause that they're trying to promote, and they need a part-time person for 2 weeks to get that all organized, and then there's another nonprofit that has something else they're doing. I could have 5 or 6 nonprofits that I'm working for all at one time doing different things, but promoting their cause specifically.
So what are some of the nonprofits you work for?
So I've done some work on a volunteer basis for the Sierra Club, based out of Concord. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones that have definitely given me permission to say their names. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure others wouldn't have a problem, but I would hate to say their names and then find out they really did.
Fully understand. Fully understand. Well, you've already explained to me what made you decide to start the company.
Yes.
Why the focus on nonprofits?
It's a really different niche. If you're doing PR and communications on a corporation to corporation or a corporation to consumer basis, it's a lot of, here's this really cool widget, you should buy it, or I have this product that's going to make your company better, and therefore your company should buy it. Mm-hmm. Nonprofits, it's a lot more about playing on the heartstrings and selling the cause as being really worthwhile and getting people to donate time or money or both, mm-hmm. or goods for a yard sale, or things of that nature. So it's a much different approach than trying to get people to buy something. You're trying to get them to buy into a cause versus purchase a widget of some sort.
So your organization is actually a fee-for-service
yes.
sort of organization.
Yep.
So the nonprofits hire you and they pay you a fee
yep.
to consult for them.
Correct.
And what does the consultation entail? What sort of things do you do for them? Without naming the organization.
Sure. it can be a myriad of things. I definitely recommend people look at my website. It does list off in there all of the services. But
do you want to tell us what that website is?
It's bwc-nh.com.
Which I believe is on the bottom of the screen.
And it does list them out there, but it could be a myriad of things. Anything from social media updates to a plan to help them figure out how to manage their own social media, managing a fundraising event. What else? It's a lot.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit fuzzy on
Sure.
exactly how you go about contacting these organizations and convincing them of what it is you can do for them, because they being nonprofit organizations
They have a
and
budget.
you being free for service, how does that initial contact
Well,
go?
I do a lot of volunteer work, so sometimes it comes about as part of that. Some of it's cold calling, and I will sit there at my desk and just call people and explain this is what I do. Understanding that right now maybe there's no room in the budget, but the budgets are a cycle like everything else. If they see a need, they can write me into their budget, and it all becomes a lot simpler. It's like any other business. It takes a while to build up, and I'm perfectly understanding of that. The other thing is, like you said, I am a fee for service. However, it's not like an exorbitant fee. And the analogy I use with people is, when
I'm not going to ask you how much you make.
No. But I couldn't list that off anyways, because it's differing depending on what they need. But the analogy I use, because I hear a lot of times, well, we can't afford you. We haven't talked price. We haven't talked anything, because they haven't even told me what they might need. And so the analogy I like to use is, if you go on a car lot and you say to the sales guy who comes up to help you, I can't afford anything here, without looking around, you're not giving yourself a fair shake, because there's always a way to make something work. And that's very much how I operate. Is it needs to be a mutually beneficial thing. And there's ways to work it out. Not that I can work for free. I have a mortgage, I have to eat.
Absolutely.
But there's ways that it can be worked out, and we can come to something that works for their budget and works for me.
And what is the typical fundraising function? Do you suggest things to them, and possibly they see where it would benefit them, or how does that go?
It could certainly work like that. A lot more frequently, they have an idea of a fundraiser that they want to run, and they don't have somebody to manage it, or they need somebody to promote it, or they need somebody to organize the volunteers who are going to work at it. There's a lot that goes into a fundraiser that people don't think about.
Oh, I know. I've done fundraisers for the Red Cross. I know exactly what goes into them.
Yeah. So you know where I'm coming from. There's a lot of things and a lot of moving parts. And sometimes one person in their organization may not have the bandwidth to run all that. They can bring me in, and I can relieve that burden, relieve that stress. They can focus on their mission and their cause, and I can get that big fundraiser going for them.
Now, you mentioned getting workers and volunteers and whatnot. Do you get the workers? Do you have a network of people that you can get to help you with fundraisers?
I certainly can. Like I said, I do volunteer a lot, and so I know people through that. More frequently, though, the nonprofit will have a mailing list or a database or something of people that have volunteered in the past, and that's where we typically start, because those are people that already believe in that cause and already are likely to say, yes, I want to help and to support it. If they need more people, can I go find more people? Sure.
Well, that sounds like a huge undertaking to find people.
It's not small.
Because I know when I did the Red Cross fundraisers, it was like pulling teeth to try to get people to volunteer.
It can be.
And to come out, especially when it was a large fundraiser and you needed like 20 or 30 people.
Right.
It was difficult.
It can be. It can be really
I
hard.
admire you for being able to say that you can do something like that. But why would a nonprofit use a for-profit organization to promote their organization?
Well, for one thing,
why would it be beneficial to them?
Sure. Well, for one thing, like I said, it relieves the internal burden off of them. All the people that work at nonprofits are wonderful people. They work so hard.
Yes, they do.
But everybody has that limit of, I can't do any more. That's where I come in. I can take on that more that they can't handle, but it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Everybody has that. So that's one thing, is I can relieve that burden. The other piece is, unlike when you bring in somebody who, some big PR firm or something like that, I'm as passionate about whatever cause it is as they are. Part of the reason that for me ethically and morally I focus on nonprofits is because I believe in nonprofits. I believe in good causes. I believe in trying to make the world a better place. So whatever their cause is, I can be behind it and passionate about it as they are.
I wish we could talk about individual nonprofits, but like you say, you don't want to mention any names, and I certainly respect that. But can you tell me of a recent project without mentioning the name of the organization that, that you did and what it took to pull it off?
Well, there's one that's ongoing right now, a current one that I'm working on, for an anniversary celebration for this particular nonprofit. They've been around for 50 years. Yay! And
That may be one that we've had in here, I don't know.
I don't think so, but maybe. And they are doing sort of, what's a good way to explain it? Sort of a treasure hunt, I guess, as a way of celebrating and sort of involving the community. And they needed somebody to put together the clues for the treasure hunt and they had sort of a concept of how they wanted to do that and what that was going to look like, but they needed somebody to pull it together, make it pretty, put pictures, and then as we've been going down this road, they all started saying, oh, we were thinking it would be great to have people send in pictures, but we don't want to be inundated with emails. How else would we maybe be able to get those submitted? And so I was able to then talk to them about using their social media as a facet for doing that, to relieve the stress of them sorting through a billion pictures as people start to send these things in. And that's how all projects sort of go, is it starts off as we have this idea for one thing, and then they start to get really creative and excited about it, and they get more questions, and I kind of, and it connects into all of the different ways that they promote themselves.
From what I hear you saying, it sounds like this is extremely time-consuming. What kind of hours do you put in order to organize something like you just mentioned?
Well, fortunately, I'm an early riser and a very high-energy person, so it does all work out. Usually, I'm out of bed by 6 or 6:30. I'll have breakfast in front of the computer at 7. I'll have lunch in front of the computer around noon. By 6 o'clock at night, I'm usually done because I have personal stuff I do at night. I train at a dojo and stuff like that, teach at the dojo, so I have to go run and do that. Go to bed, get up and do it all again the next morning.
Yeah, you mentioned everything on computer, but there's got to be a lot of boots on the ground work also.
Sure.
So how do you go about handling that?
I typically try to set aside different times in the schedule. Like I've learned, Fridays tend to be not a great time to go try to reach out and touch people at nonprofits. A lot of them aren't open. This time of year, if they're having an event, a lot of times it's on a Friday. So I try to do, if I'm going to do boots on the ground or phone calls or whatever, it's, probably going to be a Tuesday or a Wednesday, seems to be when people are in the office. Fridays, because nobody's really around, are a really good day to just get stuff done and kind of crank things out. I have a lot of really good tools, so that makes things go quicker, too.
I'm still a little bit misunderstanding exactly how one person can handle all the things that you're telling me that you do. I realize you're a high-energy person, and you obviously are, but I just can't get it through my head how one person can do this, reaching out to all these organizations to try to build a business and do the boots on the ground work and get all of this done and be in control of the entire thing.
You wouldn't be the first person to say that. Even when I worked in the corporate world and had one sort of role and one responsibility, people would say, how do you do all that? Apparently I'm really efficient or something. I don't really know.
I think you probably are. I get the impression you are very efficient at anything you undertake.
Yeah.
I believe that truly to be a fact. I guess you were in the corporate world before.
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
Let's see, less than a year. I'm trying to remember exactly when I started trying to go into this path. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
And what was it about the corporate world that made you decide, I can do something better?
I guess I I reached a point where I couldn't get up and go to work every day without feeling depressed about it, and without feeling like, oh, I just
Well,
don't.
I know that feeling.
just
I
don't
went
wanna
through
do
that 20 years ago when I was
Yeah.
still working. I went through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can relate,
I know the feeling, yeah.
I just
When you're not
don't think
happy
it's-
with your job, it's time to find something else.
Yeah, and at first
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was time to move to a different company or something like that. And the more I started delving into it, I realized it's not the company. I don't like what I'm doing. And then it became, oh no, now what am I gonna do? And you know, it wasn't the first career change for me by any means, but I sort of felt like it needed to not be just another succession of career changes, and I needed to really figure it out. And I actually went and hired a career counselor. She was wonderful, and she really helped me focus
So
in.
you hired a consultant to
help
help you
me.
to get into consulting.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good thinking.
Hey, you know what? She hired a career counselor to figure out that that's what she wanted to do. So it all comes around.
Okay, what goes around comes around.
Exactly. So she was fabulous, and she really helped me kind of delve into where my values were at and where my skills were at and kind of how those could align and what I could do. And at that point I felt like, okay, now I can go looking for jobs. And like I said, I went looking for jobs with nonprofits and went, they don't need a full-time person, but I need full-time work. If for no other reason than I'd be bored. So I hit upon this whole start a business idea, and I started delving into that with her a little bit, and you know, she kind of explored that with her and with some other professional contacts I had in the industry. And then I started meeting with SCORE, they're a fabulous organization, to kind of figure out how I get this off the ground.
So where do you see it going from here as far as expansion? How large can this become?
It can get as big as I can handle.
You've already got a lot on your plate. I don't know how much more you can handle.
But eventually, I won't have to do as much boots on the ground either, because eventually the marketing becomes word of mouth. It becomes a lot more self-sustaining. Because I'm still in startup mode, there's a lot more
So you
boots on
expect
the
a lot
ground.
of the organizations to be coming to you rather than you having to reach out.
Absolutely, and I also expect that I will have sort of like sustaining customers where they'll come back to me again and again for different things. And at that point, I won't have to do quite so much of the boots on the ground work, and I'll be able to spend more time doing the actual work.
So do you see yourself continuing as how do I say it, a single person in the sense that you're only one person doing this right now? Do you see it expanding into where you will need to take on employees? Or
I would love for that to happen.
do you think
but
it's going that way?
I think it's too early to tell.
Too early to
I
tell,
think
yeah.
it's too early
Yeah,
to tell.
4 months it
Yeah.
would be, yeah.
It would be great if it did.
Yeah.
But I think at this point it's a little early to know for sure.
So is there anything that I have not asked you that you would like to speak about to promote your organization or your business?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
You think you pretty well covered it all, huh?
I hope so.
So okay, I'm a nonprofit.
Sure.
And I don't know anything about you being out there.
Sure.
How would I go about looking you up, or where would I go to find someone like you that could help me?
So I think most nonprofits are aware of the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits. We are very proud members of the New Hampshire Center of Nonprofits as of today. Yay!
Is this something you have to subscribe to? You become a member of?
So for corporates, yes, it's a membership-based thing. I'm not totally clear how it works for the nonprofit piece of it, but everybody, both nonprofits and corporate members, has access to their yellow pages, which is sort of their database of things out there. And so I'm on there under both consulting and under marketing and PR. And so that would certainly be one fashion. Always Google searches. Or whatever your search engine is. I shouldn't, I guess, promote one. But and like I said, a lot of it becomes word of mouth because the executive director of this one's going to call the executive director of this one and say, who do you use? And eventually that's where it'll get to. Right now, I'm just going and knocking on doors and saying, hi, can I talk to you for a second?
Okay. Now, in my case, I'm basically illiterate when it comes to computers and
Sure.
technology. So I have a nonprofit, and I do have one. I won't mention the name. That's not what we're here for.
Sure.
But I have a nonprofit, and I have no idea whatsoever how to go onto a computer and find someone that can help me. Maybe I want to do a fundraiser or something like that, but I have no idea how to find someone that can help me with that. What would you suggest I do? Go and
Well,
ask my neighbor?
I am in the yellow pages also, and I know a lot of people, you know, I still pick up the yellow pages even. So that would be one place. Go to the yellow pages and look under PR and see what's in there. I'm in there. Not for this yellow pages, the old, you know, the current one, because I didn't have the, you know, the listing then, but
Yeah.
for this upcoming one. That would be one way. Another thing I'm actually in process working on right now is sort of like a trifold pamphlet that will be, I haven't figured out exactly where I'm going to put them. I'll certainly bring them when I go out and, you know, do boots on the ground, but I'm also going to leave them in strategic locations for nonprofits to pick up. So that's another way. There's, you know, literature and see what's, you know, readily available. And there's always, like I said, you call your counterpart in that organization over there or that organization over there.
So if I finally get in touch with you,
Sure.
and I ask you what you can do to benefit me, what sort of things are you going to tell me? If, say, for instance, I'm a new upstart 501c3, I've just gotten my accreditation or whatever they call it for a 501c3, and I'm looking for somebody to help me to organize it and to expand it and such. What sort of things should I ask you, or what sort of information can you give me that would help me to understand exactly how you can help me?
Well, like most things, it starts with a good conversation. And if you're calling me up and you're saying, I'm brand new, I need some help, the first thing I'm going to do is say, when can I come see you?
Okay,
And
so that's the boots on the ground part.
That's part of boots on the ground, is I'm going to come over to your office or wherever, whatever. Maybe you don't have an office yet. We'll go get a cup of coffee, whatever. And I'm going to come over and we're going to sit and talk about, what does your organization do? What's its mission? What's its goals? Is there a particular message you're trying to focus on right now? Is there a particular campaign that you're working on right now? We're gonna look at both the overall kind of thing as well as the more specific right now sort of stuff. And from that conversation, you're gonna ask me questions, I'm gonna ask you questions, and we'll figure out what I can do for you guys and what you need other people for.
So basically what you're telling me is, regardless of what it is that I feel I need, you can probably help me with it or
If it has
lead
something
me in
to
the
do
right
with,
direction.
if it has something to do with getting a message out there and getting people interested in your cause and excited about your cause, yeah. I probably, if I can't do it, I probably can tell you another direction to look at.
Do you get into websites at all? Say, for instance, I come to you and I don't have a website or anything, but I'm interested in getting my name out there and promoting myself and whatnot. Do you get into that sort of thing?
So I'm not a web designer.
Not a designer.
I can certainly give you ideas for what might be good for your to have on your website. I can do like a napkin sketch sort of a thing, but I'm not a web designer. So you're going to need to find somebody that is a web designer. But
Just
as
the only
far
thing
as-
that you're not.
I can't be everything.
Everything I've asked you, you participated. I asked you one thing, and you don't do that.
Not that one. Not that
Not
one.
that one.
Web
That's-
design is a really specific skill.
Yeah, yeah. I know with my website, I looked around at quite a few different people before I found one that could design something that for my campaigns,
Yeah.
for my re-election and whatnot.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's fascinating what you're telling me about how you started this and what precipitated you. Can I ask you?
You can ask me
What
anything, though.
type? I feel I can. What type of corporate business were you in before that you were dissatisfied?
So my most recent was actually working for a product development company. They primarily were in the medical field, but not entirely.
Okay.
And prior to that, I was in the defense industry.
All right. That's an interesting mix.
It was in the same sort of role.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that's in common there is that there's a lot of regulation in both the defense world and the medical world.
Yeah, yeah. and that basically became undesirable after a while.
It really did.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you what all the fancy little markings on our microphone mean and all of that, but it really didn't hold much value for me after a while.
Okay, you told me I could ask you anything, so I'm going to ask you a little bit of a personal question. What is your family background as far as what sort of family do you have now?
So
Are you married? Do you
I'm
have
not
children?
married. I do not have children, which makes it a lot easier to get more done because I don't have little ones to take care of.
That explains a little bit of that. Yes, yes.
No, unless you count the cats, it's just me.
Oh, you're into cats?
I've got 2 cats. Yep. They're my loyal and faithful helpers. One of them I have to convince to share the chair with me every day.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all.
And they become part of the family.
Oh, they're totally part of the family.
Yeah.
They're totally part of the family.
Well, this has really been interesting. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone or interviewed anyone that took this on and does the multitude of things that you do. It's like we were talking about before the show about the woman that I saw in the store that was multitasking.
Yes.
Well, you said you probably couldn't do that, but I think maybe you could because you seem to be an excellent multitasker.
I do try to be, yes.
Yeah. Well, you do a wonderful job. And can I ask you what area you're in without you giving me your address or anything like that?
Sure. No, I live in Nashua. Business-wise, I'm trying to focus on New Hampshire, New England, but I do live in Nashua.
Are you in Ward 5 by any chance? Ward 5 is this area right here where we're at? No.
I'm trying to. I know it's not. What word am I?
See, I'm always trying to conjure up votes.
I understand. You got to do that. No, I'm in North Nashua.
Okay. So you're probably in Ward, I don't know, Ward 2 or something like that.
I want to say 3.
2 or 3. That would probably.
I voted
be
at the Amherst Street School.
Okay, I think that is 3, probably. But like I say, I'm always trying to conjure up votes.
Well, I can't blame you.
You know, I'm running for re-election. I hope to do another term, and this has been a good term. We've gotten a lot accomplished.
That's a good thing.
We had a lot of good things. We had a lot of bad things, and we sorted them
normal.
out. We worked in a very bipartisan manner. And,
yeah, Nashua's actually impressively able to do that. I've noticed.
Yeah. Well, I'm only one of 2, I believe, on the Republican side from Nashua.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about me and my campaign. We're here to talk about you and your organization. And I really see a need for your type of work. I really do.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah, I can understand where a nonprofit, especially one just getting off the ground, would sort of wonder, how do I go about this? Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And how do I find somebody that can help me? And of course, you would have to fit into their budget, but that's with anything.
Right.
But I really think it's a wonderful idea that you have come up with, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Well, thank you very much.
And I hope that you prosper and become a millionaire at it.
That would be great.
I think you're probably at this point just thinking, if I can only make enough to pay the mortgage.
and fix fix the roof. Yeah.
Fix the roof. Got a leaky roof.
It's fixed, but now I'm just going to pay the guy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's not a half bad thing. He can wait.
He's a friend, so he'll.
Okay. Okay. I see. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you would like anyone to know that we haven't covered? Do you want to try to help people that are possibly looking for someone like you? Do you want to say anything to try to help them to contact you?
Well, contact information's on the screen, we hope. But again,
I'm sure it is.
The website is.
We have very efficient people here.
I noticed that. I did notice that. So the website is bwc-nh.com. My email address is Sarah with an H at bwc-nh.com. And the phone number, which I always get incorrect, is 589-9239.
589-9239.
Yep.
Very good. And my information is Representative Don LeBrun, Donnie Bear also at yahoo.com. And my phone number is 886-1725. And today we have been here with Miss Sarah Woodard from, and I have to look at it because for some reason I can't get it right, Better World Communications. And if you're a nonprofit and you are looking for someone to help you to organize your nonprofit, Miss Sarah seems to be the person that I would choose to go to before anyone else. So take the information,
That's quite
give
an
her a
endorsement.
call.
Thank you.
Take the information, give her a call, and this is just a lovely lady to speak to, and believe me, if anyone can help you, I believe she can. Miss Sarah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Appreciate it very much, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.